Bonjour, adventurous viewers, and welcome to Animal World, our co-inhabitants. Today we'll travel to the world's oldest oceanic islands, the Seychelles. Spanning an archipelago of 115 islands in the Indian Ocean, Seychelles is located some 1,500 kilometers east of Africa and northeast of the island of Madagascar. Several million years ago, it separated from Earth's large landmasses at a time before modern mammals had evolved. The island nation's unspoiled environment, with no naturally occurring land mammals, possesses great biodiversity and is home to an array of unique wildlife endemic to the region. In the pristine forests of Seychelles Islands, an abundance of native insects helps maintain the balance of forest ecosystems. One of the species of the flightless giant tenebrianid beetle is endangered and only found on Seychelles Frigate Island. The species is formally known as the Frigate Island giant tenebrianid beetle. One of these beetles would now like to tell you more. Fred, the Frigate Island giant tenebrianid beetle.
This is Fred. Did you know that we're vegetarians? We consume both living and lifeless plant materials and are major decomposers of the forest, working silently but diligently to keep the woodlands thriving. On average, we're about 2 to 3 centimeters long with a bark-like dark brown shell. If you look closely, you'll notice that we have long legs too, so that we can move lightly on muddy ground. Giant tenebrianid beetles live in large social groups and are often seen clustered tightly together. We're arboreal and nocturnal, meaning that during the day we normally hide in crevices or under the bark of trees, and at night come out to look for food. Being relatively large and flightless, we prefer staying in one spot unless we really have to move. So the tree we're on is most likely our home, as we hardly ever move away from it. In fact, according to a recent study, the farthest one of our species has ever traveled is 19 meters. Bravo to him or her. Can you tell how old I am? No one really knows how long we live in the wild, but researchers have learned that we live longer and more happily in our native habitats.
Sandra, the Sooglacidae frog.
Hello, I'm Sandra the Sooglacidae frog. You probably can't see me very well, as our species contains some of the world's tiniest frogs. If you can even spot us, we live in the misty mountain forests. The smallest member of our family is called the Sooglaceus gardneri frog, and they are typically 9 to 12 millimeters long, smaller than the nail on your little finger. Their young are usually only 1.6 millimeters long and are literally too small to be seen with the unaided eye. The size of my family, Sooglacidae, is relatively small as well, consisting of only 2 genera and 4 species. However, despite our tiny size, we do seek to live high above it all. Our family has only been recorded living on the 2 highest of the Seychelles' 115 granitic islands, namely Mae and Silhouette. In our free time, we love to rest under piles of leaves on the rainforest floor, in rock crevices, in hollow plant stems, or on the bases of leaves near the stem. Usually, the only thing that will cause us to leave our favorite spot is rain. During these wet periods, we hop around, look for food, and pair up with mates. Males call during the day or night from wherever they are hidden, and unlike other frogs that call in choruses, they sing individually. Female frogs lay their eggs on land and stay with them until they hatch into tadpoles, which usually takes 2 to 3 weeks. Without water to swim in, the babies cling to their mother's back until they mature into froglets and finally hop off to explore the world on their own. The young of the amazing Sooglaceus gardneri emerge from their eggs as fully developed frogs, not tadpoles.
The next animal we're going to meet is the Seychelles scops owl, also known as the bare-legged scops owl, a rare scops owl species found only in the highland forests of Mahé Island in the Seychelles. Like all owls, they're nocturnal, meaning they're active at night and sleep during the day. Sam the Seychelles scops owl.
Sam the owl here. My species live in the Mont Seychellois National Park on Mahé Island. As you can see, our plumage is mostly reddish-brown with patches of black streaks. We have fairly small ears located at the top of our heads, and as our secondary name suggests, our long grey legs are unfeathered. Similar to most Seychelles land birds, Mother Seychellois scops owls lays a single egg in a nest made of material from exotic plants. It usually takes about 3 to 4 weeks for the eggs to incubate and another 4 to 6 weeks before the young finally leave the nest. Thanks to conservation efforts of naturalists, we now have a small but stable population in our lovely haven of Mahé Island.
Another fascinating nocturnal animal unique to Seychelles is the sheath-tailed bat, one of only 2 mammals endemic to the islands. In the past, this unusual bat was probably abundant throughout Seychelles. However, the species underwent a dramatic decline during the mid to late 20th century and is now extinct on most of the islands. Sheila, the sheath-tailed bat.
This is Sheila, the sheath-tailed bat. You might be surprised to learn that only about 30 to 100 of us are left in Seychelles today, making us possibly the world's rarest bat. The majority of our family members live on Silhouette Island, and the others are scattered around in Mahé Bruna and La Diga Islands. Did you know that bats are very clean animals? We exist in large social groups and enjoy one another's company in our own upside-down world. On average, we weigh about 10 to 11 grams, and females are generally heavier than males. In the daytime, we roost in shaded areas to avoid the sunlight, cleverly hiding under large fronds of endemic palms. And at night we come out to have fun. In the dark, we use echolocation to detect objects and navigate. We also have excellent vision, except that we see everything in shades of gray. Did you know that we play a very important role in the ecosystem? Besides being significant contributors to island ecologies by helping disperse the seeds of many tree species, we are often very good indicators of environmental health as well. Thus, the decline of bat populations is related to the general quality of the surrounding habitat. And protecting our home means protecting yours too.
Also endemic to the islands, the Seychelles magpie robin is among the world's rarest bird species and was critically endangered in the 1970s. Historically, these lovely birds were found on most of the granitic islands of Seychelles, but today only about 154 remain and are spread across the islands of Frigate, Kusan, Kusin, and Arida. Rita, the magpie robin.
Hey friends, this is Rita the magpie robin. Thanks to the efforts of bird lovers, we have been downlisted or rated as less in jeopardy of extinction by the International Union for Conservation of Nature's IUCN's Red List of Threatened Animals. We went from critically endangered status to endangered status as a result of conservation work. Adults of our species are a glossy coal black colour except for a white patch on each wing. Juveniles have duller plumage with grey coloured edges on white wing bars. Mother magpie robins give birth to a single pale blue egg in a nest made of dry grass, coconut fibre and small twigs. And after an incubation period of 16 to 23 days, the chick hatches. Newborns usually live in the nest for another 16 to 22 days before we're ready to fly off on our own. Did you know that we're good singers too? Magpie robins' voices vary from rough, throaty calls to melodic songs. You can find us in woodlands, plantations, and around gardens.
The whale shark, the largest of Seychelles' marine animals, grows up to 20 meters long and visits the islands year-round. These giant sea dwellers have a lifespan of up to 70 years and come to Seychelles in search of plankton, their main food source. Whale sharks are mostly gray with white bellies, and their skin is marked with pale yellow spots and stripes unique to each individual. Wallace the whale shark.
This is Wallace the whale shark, and I hope you are enjoying your time in the Seychelles. You might be surprised to learn about my species' swimming style. We use our entire bodies to swim, which is not common for fish, and attain an average speed of around 5 kilometers an hour. We sometimes encounter divers when we swim close to shore, and usually let them hitch a ride. We're quite gentle and love to play with these interesting humans that look a little odd with their snorkeling tubes. We're filter feeders and have huge mouths that can be up to 1.5 meters wide.
Native to the islands of the Aldabra Atoll in the Seychelles archipelago, the Aldabra giant tortoise is one of the world's largest tortoise species and one of the longest-lived animals on Earth. Aldabra giant tortoises can live 200 years or longer. Adwaita, a tortoise born in 1750, reached the longest ever measured lifespan of 255 years, passing away in 2006. Today, the oldest known living tortoise is a male Aldabra giant named Esmeralda, who just celebrated his grand 170th birthday. Esmeralda lives on Bird Island, another of Seychelles Islands. Tim, the Aldabra giant tortoise.
Greetings. This is Tim, the Aldabra giant tortoise. Thanks to years of conservation work, approximately 100,000 Aldabra giant tortoises now live in Seychelles. Males are generally larger than females, with the shell of males being around 120 centimeters in length and their weight up to 250 kilograms. Females have a shell around 90 centimeters long and weigh up to 150 kilograms. Under our dome-shaped shells, we have 4 stocky, heavily scaled legs to support our weighty bodies.
Most Aldabra giant tortoises live on the islands of the Aldabra Atoll, with the few residing on the island of Zanzibar, as well as in conservation parks in Mauritius and Rodriguez. Aldabra giants are found in various habitats, including grasslands, low scrublands, mangrove swamps, and coastal dunes.
We thrive on a plant-based diet and in nature browse on grass, leaves, and woody plant stems. One interesting fact about us Aldabra giants is that we have relatively long necks, which allow us to explore tree branches up to a meter above the ground. The kind of habitat we live in determines the shape of our shell. Those of us who live in environments with food available higher above the ground have a more flattened top shell. The front part is slightly raised to allow the neck to freely extend upward. In contrast, those of us that live in places where food is available on the ground have more dome-shaped shells. I'm going to take a nap, so bye for now.
The Seychelles is a truly wonderful place, and the residents, animal or human, will always welcome you with a smile. The islands await you. Au revoir, fun-loving viewers. We truly enjoyed your company today on Animal World, our co-inhabitants. May we all support conservation work worldwide to help preserve precious flora and fauna.
For more details, please visit www.suprememastertv.com/AW.